Come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City of Romulus Council meeting for Monday, November 23rd, 2015. The roll show that all council members are present this evening. Number 1 is agenda. 2, minutes. 3, petitioner. 4, chairperson's report. 5, mayor's report. 6A is the clerk's report. 6B, treasurer's report. 7, public comment. 8, unfinished business. 9, new business. 10, communication. 11, warrant 15-22, and 12 is adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
In motion by Mr. Kraut, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for approval of the agenda as presented. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Wadsworth?
Yes.
Roscoe?
Yes.
Mikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, agenda accepted.
2A is approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held November 9th, 2015.
So moved to approve the minutes.
Support.
In motion by Ms. Mikowski, supported by Mr. Abdo, for approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held November 9th, 2015. Ms. Mikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Abstain.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
2B is approval of the minutes from the special meeting held on Monday, November 9th, 2015 at 7 p.m., a closed session discussing pending union matters.
So moved to approve. Support.
Motion by Ms. Mikowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for approval of the minutes from the special meeting held on Monday, November the 9th at 7 p.m. for closed session concerning pending union matters. Ms. Mikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes
Mr.
yes,
Barton,
motion approved.
So, Mr. Barton, I abstain on that. I wasn't.
Okay, Mr. Wadsworth abstain. Okay.
We have no petitioners this evening, so we will move on to the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Barb. First of all, we had a couple of meetings today. That's why we ran a little bit overtime. It's very well spent with the overtime. Very important matters came up for the city of Romulus. At 6 o'clock, we had a study session for a solution to the condition of our local roads. And we heard the citizens' concerns and what they want to see happen in the city of Romulus. And that was at 5. At 6 p.m., that's when we had our 34th District Court proposal for a renovation of our courts. At this time, I'm going to recognize our councilperson, Councilman Wadsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. For the last 3 council meetings, I wasn't here, and mainly because I had surgery on my foot. But I want to thank the people for their kind thoughts, for the cards, for the telephones, calls, and it was the first time that I've ever missed more than one meeting in 32 years, and it was kind of hard to really stay away. This surgery was nothing to do with the light, threatening, but I have been homebound for the past 5 weeks, and I must admit, I feel sorry for anybody that's got to be homebound, but I've got to thank my wife, Jean. She was almost perfect in taking care of me, and I appreciate that.
Almost perfect.
And it's, I feel for, we've got city employees now that are going through some very difficult medical times, and I can feel for them. But again, thanks for your thoughts in the cards and everything else. Thank you.
I know at first I was going to tease Mr. Wadsworth. I know you had some surgery on his foot. I was going to tease him and say, you didn't have to kick the TV station because of the Lions lost. But I
One thing
figure I'll
I've
leave that
learned,
alone.
when you do that, your wife never comes to help you.
All right. Okay. On that note, that concludes the chairman's report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept your report.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Mikowski, to accept the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Mikowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Crop?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved. Thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Good evening, City Council, audience, Deputy Clerk. Tonight, kind of my quote or message ties into this time of year, and it goes as this. Just have an attitude of gratitude. This is the Thanksgiving season, and we're very blessed in this country, in this state, and in this city to have what we have. To have a roof over our head, to have a meal being planned for Thanksgiving. And my message is really, if there's a way that you can share that with somebody who doesn't, maybe it's a food bank, right, Mr. Crowd, or helping out a Helping Hands, or a church food pantry, or somebody in need, or you invite somebody over for dinner. That's the spirit of Thanksgiving, show our appreciation, and maybe we can spread that Thanksgiving love a little bit. So that's my message, and happy Thanksgiving to our community. Real quick, I have a short video. If Mike, you could run that, Rod, just on all the events we have going on, then we'll get into my business meeting.
Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine Dancy. Here's what's coming up around Romulus, and remember to stay tuned in following this meeting for our complete news show. This is your last week to submit applications for aid for the Romulus Goodfellows. Applications must be postmarked by November 30th to be considered. For those that want to help support this community initiative, please consider making a donation to the Romulus Goodfellows. They are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and all donations are tax deductible. We are also accepting donations of hats and gloves to distribute to our Goodfellows families. We are especially in need of hats and gloves for older children. You can drop any hat and glove donations off at Romulus City Hall or the Romulus Public Library. You can find all of this information for aid and how to volunteer or donate online at romulusgov.com/Goodfellows or call the Goodfellows hotline at 734-955-4577. Another way to support the Goodfellows is by visiting the Romulus House restaurant on Wednesday, November 25th for their annual free dinner from 4 to 8 p.m. Patrons are given a full Thanksgiving dinner at no cost, but all donations received will be donated to the Romulus Goodfellows. Please consider attending to help those in need in our community.
On Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November the 26th, if you're looking for a hot meal, the Pentecostal Baptist Church, led by Pastor Arthur Willis, is hosting a free luncheon from 12 to 3 p.m. The Romulus Athletic Center is holding a Rack Friday 3-day sale, Friday, November the 27th through Sunday, November the 29th. If you go in and purchase a year membership on one of these 3 days, it will not expire until January 1st, 2017, which is over a month for free. Plus, you'll receive 6 free fitness classes. Learn more by calling 734-942-2223. That's 734-942-2223, or visit RomulusAthleticsCenter.com. Also, please tune in to our cable channel, Channel 18, on Thanksgiving Day, as we will be running some of our previously aired programs and events we are most thankful for this year.
Tickets are now on sale for a special dinner with Santa on Friday, December 4th at 5 p.m. Tickets are $5 per child and include pizza, a snack, craft, and your photo with Santa. Parents are also welcome to come and eat for $4 per person. You must pre-register for this event by Thursday, December 3rd at City Hall in the Mayor's office. Following the dinner with Santa is the city's official tree lighting ceremony. This event is free and open to the public. The ceremony begins at 6:30 p.m. and will feature the Romulus High School Choir. Please bring your whole family and sing with us as we light the Christmas tree. Pictures with Santa will be offered following the tree lighting for $3 each. Dinner with Santa and the tree lighting will be held at a new location this year at the Downtown Historical Park Pavilion, which is just a short walk from its previous location at the Historical Park Freight House area. After the tree lighting, there will be refreshments available and holiday craft vendors in the pavilion, which will be enclosed and warmed. We will not be going to the Progressive Hall. We hope this will be more convenient and accessible for all of our attendees. This has been Romulus News You Can Use. You can stay connected with us on romulusgov.com or facebook.com/City of Romulus.
Thank you, Jasmine and Dennis, for that. Now into the normal business part of the meeting. I wanted to get into some action items. The first one, and I'm not going to, if it's okay, Mr. Chairman, we had quite lengthy early meeting. One thing that's very important for the first item is to make sure that the council and the public is crystal clear on what we're asking. So I'd like Pat McGow from Miller Canfield, our bond attorney, just to come up and clarify the action that's before City Council under Agenda Item 5A, which pertains to neighborhood street solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of council and mayor. We had a very long study session earlier, as the chairman indicated, to discuss the neighborhood street improvement program. It's the recommendation of the Citizens Committee and the administration that the city consider asking the voters to approve a bond proposal to authorize the city to issue bonds to pay for neighborhood street improvements. So the action item that you have before you this evening is a resolution submitting neighborhood street improvement bond proposal. If approved by the council, this would authorize a ballot question to be presented to the voters at the March presidential primary, which is scheduled for March 8th of 2016. The question would ask the voters to approve the issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed $25 million for the city to pay the cost of neighborhood street improvements throughout the city, which consists of paving, repaving, resurfacing, reconstructing, and improving neighborhood streets, including all related appurtenances and attachments. It's estimated that the bond proposal, when the bonds are sold, the first levy, based on current estimates of debt service and the city's taxable value, it would be a 12-year program where a millage would be levied each year beginning July 1st of 2016, approximately 3.55 mils based on current estimates. And that would allow for generating funds to pay for the road improvement program, the neighborhood street program, over the next 4 construction seasons. So what you're being asked to consider tonight is the issue of presenting this to the voters to let the voters decide whether or not to authorize the bonds and move forward with this program, which, when bonds are issued, would then authorize a millage to be levied to pay the debt service on those bonds. Many of the people that made presentations earlier are still in the audience tonight. So with that, I'll stop talking and turn it back over to council to address any questions on this matter. Thank you.
So thank you, council. Unless there's any other questions, a motion would be in order.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ms. Choke has a question?
In accordance with 8.6 of the Romulus City Charter, it says council must adopt a resolution scheduling a special election. So does this resolution that you have presented to us, does that take into account that the charter requirement?
I believe it does, yes. So this is essentially putting the question, it's a state election, so this would be a special election for the city purposes, for the purpose of voting on this question on the issuance of the bonds.
All right. I can do the motion.
Okay.
That, in accordance with 8.6 of the Romulus City Charter, that we schedule the special election to be held on Tuesday, March 8th, for the purpose of placing a resolution for bond issue before the electors for road improvement program consisting paving, repaving, resurfacing, reconstructing, and improving residential streets. And that's it.
I'll support that with discussion.
I have a question too.
Okay, it's been supported by, it's been motioned by Ms. Choke, supported by Ms. Makowski, to adopt the attached resolution, as Ms. Choke had mentioned, to grant authorization to place the neighborhood street improvement bond proposal before the electors of the city at an election to be held in the city on the presidential primary election date, which is Tuesday, March 8th, 2016. Discussion.
Yes, please. I would just like to make it clear that earlier, we had a very long study session. It went over, but there was a lot of good discussion. I just want to be clear on explaining my vote. Our future growth is dependent upon having solid infrastructure, and roads are part of the infrastructure. And our visioning process that's been done over the last year showed that improving the roads were clearly a priority for our citizens. Studies show that road improvements improve home values, so it's really a win-win. In fact, other cities surrounding us are investing in their roads, and that's what we need to do as well, because, when we think about future growth, you go where it's nice. And the surrounding communities are planning to make sure their roads are nice. We need to do the same. I liked something I heard earlier tonight from one of the committee members this committee has worked over a year to put this information in place. They've gone on the buses and probably without shocks left, probably on some of our roads. But Dan Bales said, we have a problem. And he said that when he was an elected official and he knew that he had a problem that he could not solve on his own, he went to the community. And that's what we need to do. We're going to the community, to the voters, and saying, we've got a big problem and we need your help. So I bet you can tell which way I'm going to vote.
Mr. Wadsworth?
If I could, first of all, I got to compliment the people that were on this board. They volunteered a lot of time, and they brought out a lot of facts. But the question about the millage, once the bonds are paid off, unless the voters renew this millage, it'll come back off the taxes, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Crowell, and then
Thank
Ms.
you.
Roscoe.
When I ran for council about 2 years ago, I was passing my literature out. And in my literature, I stated to the public, if you put me in office, I will not support a tax increase. A millage increase is a tax increase. I keep my word. Thank you.
Ms. Roscoe?
I totally agree with everything that Councilwoman Makowski just said about just everything she just said. But my biggest issue with tonight is the wording on what's going to go on the ballot. It's not clear, because actually they're paying for 12 years, where when they go and vote, it's going to say 10 years. And it's going to start at 3.53 mils, but we have no clue where it'll go from there, whether it'll go up or whether it'll go down. So my biggest problem is not saying I want to let the people decide and it's up to them. I want it to be clear, not just with the people that's in this room or the few people that we may see or touch or get to in a town meeting, but that when somebody that has not talked to any of us or anybody walks in and to vote, and they just read this proposal, that it state exactly, and it's very clear, and to me, the clarity isn't there. And that's my problem with it. It's just not clear when you go to read it, and 10 years rolls around, and they're still paying on it for another 2 years, or 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road comes, and the millage goes up because maybe their property values goes down or the interest rate goes up on the bonds. But I just want to explain why I feel that at this time, it's not to put it out in these words to the public.
Ms. Choate?
Well, I had one other question about the resolution. This resolution that you presented to us, is that required to be published along with a resolution of approval here?
So the resolution itself does not, but this essentially requires all of the various notices of the election, last day of registration, et cetera, to be done in compliance with the Michigan election law. So those, the ballot question and all those other things will need to be published in the notice of election in accordance with the election law.
All right, but not as part of the minutes?
Not this particular resolution, no.
Thank you.
You have anything? Okay. Again, this is going to the residents. They're the ones that's going to be the one to make the decision. It was mentioned that if you want something in the city, you got to have rooftops. When a person looking for a house, they look for schools, infrastructure, streets, and livable housing. So you have to build up your community to sell it. And to sell it, you got to have your ducks in order. Your ducks in order is the streets, proper sewage, school system, library, city services. Those things makes a city run smooth. Sure, there's gonna be hiccups in everything in life you do, but you have to step forward sometime and make a change. Sometimes it's hard to make changes. Changes scare people, but you have to put your feet out forward and move the city forward. With that, I'm gonna do the roll call. Ms. Choke?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
No.
Mr. Kraut?
No.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you very much, City Council. Appreciate that. Next up is 5B, another important action item. And again, we had a earlier study session, a lot of good questions and comments. I apologize to the courts that we ran a little late in our earlier session, but I'd like also, Pat McGough, if you could kind of frame the issue for City Council on that one as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. This was the night for discussing major capital projects for the city. So at the study session earlier tonight discussing the court project, there were various presentations made about the need for the building, the estimated revenue source, and the cost as well. So this is a little different type of a resolution that's before you tonight. This is a notice of intent resolution for the city to issue capital improvement bonds for the court facility. This is a bond issue that's very similar to the type of bond issue that the city did last year for various infrastructure projects. And you may recall that in 2014, the city issued $6 million of bonds for various road, water, and sewer projects that was paid from a variety of sources, which included water and sewer fund, major roads, and the DDA. Those bonds were not required to go to a vote of the people because the bonds, although issued by the city and the city pledged its full faith and credit, the city is not allowed to raise taxes above its existing tax rates in order to pay those bonds. So this is a very similar process for this bond issue. What's before you tonight is a notice of intent resolution that would authorize the city to take the first steps in connection with the issuance of bonds for this project. It's a multi-step process. So what you're doing tonight is really authorizing the publication of a notice of intent that would be published in the newspaper. This is required under state law, and it would indicate the city's intent to issue the bonds in an amount not to exceed $11 million to pay the costs of acquiring, constructing, furnishing, and equipping, in addition to and renovations to the existing court facility, together with all necessary parking and site improvements. The bonds could be issued without a vote of the people. However, if a referendum petition is submitted within 45 days after this notice is published, requesting an election, then the city would not be able to proceed with the issuance of the bonds without a vote. So this is a similar process to some other bonding statutes the city has used on other projects. It's expected that if approved and if that notice of intent was published, that would then also allow the city to begin the process of doing final design on this project over the next 6 months, so that it would be expected that if things go according to the timetable, the construction bids on the project would be available sometime this summer. At that time, we would then come back to the city to have the city authorize the issuance of the bonds. So this is really just authorizing the first step in the process, which is the notice of intent. We would then have to come back after the construction bids are available with a resolution to finalize the amount of the bonds and authorize the sale of the bonds, which could then occur sometime in, say, August or September of next year in order to get the funds to pay for this project. So the expected source of revenue to pay for this is the funds that are being generated by the court. They call it the FUF fee, but it's a fund that's been implemented in order to pay specifically the debt service on the bonds for this project. And the city is the issuer of the bonds, and the city is the one who will own the court, and also the city is the one that is pledging its full faith and credit. So the city is on the hook for this bond issue and is essentially pledging its full faith and credit as support for the bonds. The revenues are expected to come from the courts, and the city is not allowed to raise taxes in order to pay the debt service on the bonds above its existing tax rates. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about the bonds or the resolution, and there are other people here as well if there are any questions about the
Mr.
project
Barton?
itself.
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth.
If I could to the bond expert out there, we want the term in his resolution that we are going to memorialize this so that we protect ourselves down the road. Is that the term should be
So
in it?
that won't be in this resolution. What would be expected would be that would come about around the time that you're being asked to adopt the bond resolution.
Okay, all right, fine. If there's no other questions, I'll move that the request for a resolution for the 2015 34th District Court Capital Improvement.
Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut, to adopt the attached formal resolution to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the necessary documents to authorize the notice of intent for the issuance of the 2015 34th District Court Capital Improvement Bond in an amount not to exceed $11 million for the purpose of renovating the 34th District Court building and grounds. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council, appreciate that. Thank you, Pat. Next one up is item number 5C. Is a request to concur with the administration, authorize the City of Romulus to extend bid 04/05-07 with Hydro Design, Inc. for the additional 36 months with a term to expire March 31st, 2018. And this is an annual contract amount of $21,480 for 211 inspections, and it's 12-month payment of $1,790. And those funds come out of the Water Fund Cross-Connection Services expense.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Makowski, supported by Mr. Kraut. To concur with the administration, authorize the City of Romulus to extend bid 04/05-07 with the Hydro Design Incorporated for an additional 36 months with a term to expire on March the 31st, 2018, at an annual contractual amount of $21,480. $21,480. No, wait.
21,000.
Wait a minute, it's been a long night. $21,480 for 211 inspection.
We dealt with big numbers tonight, but they're all not all that big, John.
I tell you, 12 monthly payments of $1,790. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Makowski.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, Council. Next up is a request to concur with the administration, authorize the renewal of our Michigan Municipal League membership. That'll be from January 1st, 2016 through December 31st of 16. The amount $7,068.
So moved.
Been motion by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Abdo, to concur with the administration authorize the renewal of the Michigan Municipal League membership dues for January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016, in an amount of $7,068. Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, Council. And the last item for action is a request to increase the revenue for engineering review fees that were collected for new major projects, as well as increase the expense for engineering reviews that were conducted by contractual services for that same project.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, for the introduction of Budget Amendment 15/16-12 for the general fund.
So moved.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut, to increase the revenue for the engineering review fees collected for a new major project, as well as increase the expenses for engineering reviews conducted by contractual engineers on that same project. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, Council. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. 6A1 for second reading and final adoption is Budget Amendment 151611. And this budget amendment was introduced at the council meeting of November 9th, 2015.
So moved.
Support.
A motion by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for second reading and final adoption of a budget amendment 15/16-11. Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A2, City Treasurer Stacy Page is requesting a half-hour study session on Monday, December 7th, 2015, to discuss the city first quarter investments, and the time and date is available.
So moved.
Support.
A motion by Mr. Abdo, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for the study session on Monday, December 7th, 2015, to discuss city first quarter investments. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we will have our study session.
3, Department of Public Works Director Roberto Scapitici is requesting a half-hour study session on Monday, December 7th, 2015, to discuss the Ecorse Creek resolution, and the time of 6:30 is available for the study session.
So moved for a meeting on Monday, December 7th at 6:30.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo, for a study session request on Monday, December 7th, 2015, to discuss the Ecorse Creek resolution. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
That concludes the clerk's report. 6B is the treasurer's report, and the treasurer did not have anything to report this evening. And 7 is public comment. This is the portion of the meeting where the audience may address city council. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand, and when recognized by the chair, please state your name and address. And we do not have any written requests to speak this evening.
Ms. Williams?
So you play the game. Broke it.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Virginia Williams. It's so sad at a time like this. I mean, I understand a lot of things need to be done, but a lot of things need to be done around folks' homes also. You know, repairs to their homes. But the council spoke, so, you know, we'll let the people speak at the polls. But I got a disturbing water bill for 3 months, $521. 80 units. The bill before that was 40 units. What's going on? You can't tell me it's a leak. Everything is a leak. It's not a leak. I mean, and then I was told today that the water rates are going up again. How can we live? How do you expect us to afford all of this? Is the council aware of how high the water bills are?
Any,
$500 just does not seem right. I would have something checked out.
Ms. Williams, how many units was that?
I was told today that my usage was 80 units. The cycle before that was 40.
Is that by chance one of those brand-new water meters they put in? Or is that the
Yes,
old
and I
type?
would, so what do I need to do to go back to the old meter? I'm serious.
I'm serious too.
I would be too.
Mine
Because
was
I was
250.
told putting in the new meter was gonna be better for the city to, you know, calculate and whatever, but not, you know, get outrageous with it. Now, I would definitely like to have my old meter back.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Roscoe?
I think you can have somebody come out and check her meter, and
I've done that, Ms. Roscoe, that's,
you've had somebody come out to the house from the DPW?
yes. I've had somebody come out from the, I mean, all of that's been done.
Since you got
Something is
this
wrong.
bill? Since you got this bill?
No, not since I had this bill. Something is wrong, okay? Because you don't go double from the previous bill, 40 units, to 80 units the next bill.
That's why I said you should have somebody come out now and have it checked.
What about my meter? How do I go about getting my meter back, the old one? Makes more sense to me.
Probably
You're
gone.
not going to probably get your meter back, but
Why you're not going to? What's the law against that?
I'll let Mr.
Scott,
Scappuccini.
Have you got a sprinkling
address
system
that.
outside?
Not in September, October, and
Turn it
November.
off, turn it off. Huh?
That's just too high.
It is
I'd have-
ridiculous.
Too high.
I'd have somebody definitely check everything out and go from there.
If I can, I'm not familiar with the issue you're having at your home, but I can look into it. I mean, typically, we don't go back to the old meters. I mean, once they get out of calibration, we've got to use the... Well, we're going through the city and we're replacing meters.
Take somebody's old meter and give it to me?
No, we don't do that.
No, I'm serious, because this is ridiculous. I'm not, it's like the state, the county, the city. Where do we get this money? I don't mind paying my bill, I don't. But I'm not gonna pay a ridiculous bill. That makes no sense, it's not
I
fair.
agree with you. It does seem like something might be going on, doubling your usage. I mean, that wouldn't happen with a new meter. So there might be something that we haven't seen that's happening to your home. Do you have a backup sump pump or anything like that? Because those water-driven backup sump pumps, they can trigger themselves on and continuously run. You wouldn't know it.
I have a sub pump that's, a backup sub pump ran by a battery. This has never happened before. I got a history of the bill.
Let her use the
Sub pump-
microphone.
Sub pump been there since 2005, when the house was built, okay? And the backup run by batteries been there. So that's, I understand you haven't been here long, but at the same time, come on now, something has happened. I'm sure I'm not the only one with the problem, but I don't mind speaking on it. So you're saying I can't have my old meter back. So what are we gonna do? Because I can't afford every 3 months a $500-something water bill. On top of, I was told today that the water rates are going up again. For what reason?
Ms. Williams, I would just ask you from this side of the table to have Mr. Scappuccini come out, have somebody come out and go through, make sure there's not something wrong with the new meter, and then go from there. And then if there's not, then we can try to address the issues from there.
We can
So we
have
can-
Roberto's department do that and
Yeah,
report back to
we'll
council
meet
on
off.
what the
We'll meet
findings are.
offline with her. We'll exchange information and we'll make
Okay.
sure we look into it.
I just think, I mean, seriously, my heart is just aching from, and just so disappointed every turn around, not just the city, the state, the county, everybody is cutting. So where were we supposed to get this extra money from? I don't understand it. And how is it, the council sit up there and then you vote, but did you think about all the increases that you voted on? Maybe you could have held off on that? You know, so you so quick to raise the water rates. And it's not Detroit, so don't tell me that. Because I know Detroit charges you a small amount, $11, $9 or something, and then Romulus put their spin on it, just like every other city. So it's not the city of Detroit. So the communities need to stop saying it's the city of Detroit problem, our water rate is so high, because that's not true.
Okay, Ms. Bell, you want to speak on?
I just wanted to tell Virginia, we had that same problem at our house on Anthony, and that was the old meter. And we had a $500 bill. There was a leak in our toilet, and the DPW came out and found it right away. And the DPW also went and showed us how to watch our meter, and you could see it spinning.
I've been through all of that, Ms. Bales.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying, I'm serious, because when I got that bill from the previous bill, you know, I came right up to the city today and went to Abby and spoke about it. Something has to be done about that, seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments from the audience? Yes, Mr. Duke.
I do come with heavy heart at the idea of my taxes raising. And I know that I'm retired and I'm in the same position a lot of people are also. But I do come with a happy heart to say thank you for fixing Brandt. And I know that that costs a lot of money. I was part of the road commission I did go on the tour, and I saw the shape of our city, and it is bad. We have a lot of bad roads. And what you did tonight was not to say yes or no on this. You said, yes, I want the people of Romulus to decide yes or no. And I am with heavy heart, and I know I would say some things that aren't appropriate, but I do feel that we need to look deep within ourselves before we vote and make a decision, because it is a tough decision, but we have to do something for our city, and we have to help our city grow. And I've seen a lot of the bad roads. There are a lot, and it's not just my subdivision, which they said they're going to help. It's going to be a lot. And if you do a special assessment, that's like my light outside. That's a special assessment. Yeah, I pay extra, and if I claim it, doggone it, if the state says, you can't cover that. And if it was a special assessment that each person does in a community, then you can't claim that. And I know it's very, very difficult for people to say, I might do an extra $100 a year, and it's going to be very tough. But we have to think about it. Otherwise, I think we're all going to buy cement and put it down on the roads ourselves. I don't know what else we can do, because the city says they don't have the money, and they looked at several different areas. So like I said, it's with heavy heart that I ask people to look deep and think about it. We've got 3 months to think about it. We got 3 months to judge on it. We got 3 months to talk about it. But talk about it and think about it. And I do support going forward, and that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yes.
I have one question for the, Gina Wilson Stewart. I had one question for the renovation of the court. When the guy got up just to speak before you guys voted, he mentioned that it was $11 million for that renovation, and I know I didn't hear that in the public hearing part of the meeting today. I just wanted to know, how much was it to do a new building? It was never brought up today. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I can tell you that there were different options that were looked at, but it was 20 million plus for a separate standalone building. So depending on the details of it, as we looked into that, the more and more it became obvious that not just the courts, but you have to build a new building. We didn't have a revenue stream to do it, and I wasn't comfortable pledging a full faith of credit and coming to council to do that without a good revenue stream to cover it.
Okay, so the people who actually came up with the design, they are the ones who will get the contract to actually do the renovation?
They're the ones that have been working with the courts throughout that process, so, you know, I'm sure that would be the intent, but that hasn't been decided.
Okay, all right, thank you for that.
Yep, you're welcome.
The last thing I had was, I came before you guys almost a month ago talking about our distracted driving campaign that we're doing through the Telegram newspaper. Since then, we've picked up a couple of different sponsors, and we're really close to getting AT&T to sponsor it with us. But we're doing it through all our coverage cities to say that we want people to just drive when they're behind the wheel. So we want people to actually take a pledge. I will not drive distracted pledge for the next 3 months, so that they can reduce some of the accidents that are happening to themselves and to other innocent people. And to have a sense of accountability, we have start using these little green ribbons to tie on your side mirror, so that we can actually see if you're driving distracted. We'll see the ribbon on your mirror, and then we'll know that you should definitely be driving distracted. So it's a sense of accountability.
There's no writing on that note, is it?
On this note.
Oh, because you don't want to read that. Okay.
No, this is the pledge that you get. You're going to sign this one and get it back to us. But then this is the one you're going to get to keep with you that says that I will encourage the person I'm driving in the car with, riding the car with, not to drive distracted. I will not text. I will not eat.
when I comb my hair, or things like that. Because people do it all day long. You drive down the street, you see people doing it, and then they're causing accidents, fender benders, and death in some cases. So we just want to encourage people just to drive when you're driving. So I just wanted to get you guys support on that, as well as the citizens in city of Romulus. That's it.
Ms. Abdo, you,
Gina, they did mention a figure, because I wrote it down, for a new court. One of the figures I heard was over 40,000. That's what Judge Tina Green.
No.
20 million.
40 million, I'm sorry.
Been a
God,
long
we've
night.
been here long.
No, it was
Now I'm
like
sounding like John.
19 million, I heard.
I had heard 40, she had 43 million, was that?
There was a lot of different things for the whole new complex.
It was in the 20 range. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know where
I'd
the
heard her
40 million
mention that.
came from. I mean, that, I would have never brought a project to you that magnitude.
yeah. Yes, Ms. Bales?
Carol Bales, 38799 Barth Road. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for, I'd like to thank you for supporting the road millage. It means a lot. I want to thank Leroy, or Mayor Burcroft, sorry about that. All of our city administration, I think they gave a phenomenal presentation tonight. The committee has worked extremely hard. I learned a lot through it. I echo everything that Mrs. LaDuke said. I think it's important to our community that we move and we grow. It was nice to see all of you unanimously supporting the court. Glad to see you back, Mr. Wadsworth. Glad that you supported this. And thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
John?
Yes, Ms. Abdo?
One thing I want to point out, and I know Ms. Williams already left, but we did not vote to raise taxes up here. We voted to let you decide. And I think that's important.
Right. And it's very important that the people decide, not us. You elected us to represent you. Now we're coming to you to make the decision. Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? If not, we'll close that part out.
Okay, 8 is unfinished business.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Just
Mr.
one thing on unfinished business. I wanted to talk about the water department and how we have a ton of great employees. As Ms. Bales pointed out, we have people that go out on a regular basis, and Ms. Roscoe mentioned they'll go out and do investigative work. They'll help find leaks, troubleshoot problems. They do that day in and day out. So anytime any resident has an issue where they want to check it out, maybe there is a peak in a water bill, we'll be happy to look at those spikes and try to determine what happened. The other thing I wanted to make council aware of is we're looking at the water billing process. We have a committee. There are some communities that do things different with billing cycles. We have a team that's looking at that compared to others. You know, we know that people, you know, especially on fixed incomes, have difficulty paying bills. And there's a difference between commercial and residential right now. So we're looking at both. So we are looking at that, and if we find that we can improve the process, we will bring that back to you. As far as the water and sewer rates, because those tie together, we're in the middle of some serious discussion right now. We're part of the 13 communities of the downriver system, and I'm on a negotiation team to talk to Wayne County about possibly purchasing that and having it run with a private company away from the county that would hopefully save money and keep the rates the same. So we're trying to do things not just as a city, but in some of the you know, groups that we belong to with the Downriver group. We're trying to work hard to make sure that we're keeping a level of service and we're keeping the costs in line. And in this case, you know, we're trying to help out Wayne County, who is in a tough situation as well. So, you know, I don't want you to think we're not being proactive. There are a ton of things we're doing behind the scenes to make sure that the value that resident's paying in that bill is there. And if they want help, come on down, ask us for help. We have a ton of employees that love to come up with solutions for our residents, and they'll work very hard to do it. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Number 9 is new business.
Mr. Barden.
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, on a very important issue, Christmas is just around the corner. It's about 5 weeks away, and if you're looking to buy a cat or a dog as a gift for somebody for Christmas, and if you do that, it's a lifetime commitment. It's just not a novelty to give away in January. First, go look at the Rama's Animal Shelter. And if you want to give to the Rama's Animal Shelter, you've got until the end of the year for a tax donation. They look for cash, food, blankets, toys, dog leashes. But if you don't want to give to the Rama's Animal Shelter, there's a library fund, there's a cemetery, of course, there's Helping Hands Harry, there's the Coleman Center, there's a Progressive Hall, there's a Civic Center over here, and the list goes on, your local church. But it's Christmas time, and give something to somebody. Thank you.
10 is communication.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, Ms. Makowski.
Just have a few library announcements. Well, it's getting cold out there, and this is a great time for, there's just a whole bunch of movies showing at the library. Family movie night, first Wednesday of every month, and December's movie is Home Alone, that classic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, December 2nd at 6 p.m. And then, for all you Star Wars fans, maybe I'll see you there, but if you're getting excited about Star Wars Episode 7, well, you can go to the library on the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th, all Saturdays, starting at noon, and watch, you gotta watch all of the 6 of them before you see the 7th. So you can see the first 2 on the 5th, the second 2 on the 12th, and the last 2 on the 19th. So, and they are making gingerbread houses on Monday or Tuesday, December 7th or 8th, both at 6 p.m. Please sign up, and space is limited, children 4 and up. And lastly, they're having a candy cane counting contest. And that contest runs from December 1st through the 31st. So you can go in and guess how many candy canes are in the jar. That's it.
Okay, if no more communication, I have some communication. You know, that was a very important game, college game, that was presented last week. Excuse me for a minute. We beat Ohio State. And Ohio, thanks. That's all I have for communications. All right. Okay. Okay.
Number 11 is warrant 15-22.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms.
I'd like to adopt a resolution that we pay warrant 15-22 in the following amounts. General Fund, $110,502.32. Major Street Fund, $235,837.32. Local Street Fund, $5,286.70. Cable TV, $381.77. Merriman Road Special Assessment, $496.64. Oakwood Industrial Park is $70.39. Rubbish and Garbage Collection Fund is $2,500. 911 Service Fund is $3,483.28. Law Enforcement, $50.76. Narc Forfeiture State, $6,220.04. Library Fund, $2,488.53. DDA is $5,558.18. Tifa District 2, $3,966.93. General Debt Service is $400. DDA for Goddard Road Construction, $68,711.96. Tifa Vining Road Construction, $76,996.75. Water and Sewer Fund, $121,537.37. Motor Vehicle Fund, $25,193.91. Technology Services, $16,128.78. Retirees Insurance Benefits, $185,157.91. Revolving Fund is $15,519.47. General Tax Fund, $17,057.38. Current Tax Fund is $87,482.43. Payroll fund, $190,931.43, for a grand total of $1,181,960.24.
Been motioned by Mr. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut, to pay warrant number 15-22 for $1,181,960.24. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, warrant 15-22 will be paid.
Number 12 is
So
adjournment.
moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned. Thank you.